Stage. There we go, and we have started the podcast officially now.
Classy, yes. That is classy as anything.
Yes, exactly.
No expense spared.
Exactly.
No,
well, we do our best here.
It's not even copyright. We recorded James doing that, and it's just.
Anyway, welcome to Off the Stage Podcast, the podcast where we take mostly musicians off the stage and into the pub to talk about the ins and outs of the music world. However, we have a special edition today.
We take the music industry.
To take the music industry off the
side of the stage?
Side of the stage.
Yeah.
The side of the stage.
I've normally found somewhere side of the stage, to be fair, yeah.
Today we have Lee. Would you like to introduce yourself? What do you do in the music industry?
Hang on.
Whoa!
Everything.
That's very excitable. So my name's Lee Woolhead. I'm a music manager mainly, but I promote shows as well. Do a bit of everything, really.
Cool.
Yeah, that's the general gist of it. Yeah.
Cool. So this is episode 41. So this will be the first one we've not had musicians.
Yeah.
A full row of them. And it's
I feel
kind
like
of
this
good
is a letdown now.
No, it's not. It's a better episode because it gives like a different insight.
Yeah.
Because obviously, it's realistic. I don't, even though I do the music stuff, I don't really understand the difference of like a record label and like a music management and kind of thing.
Yeah.
As a quick summary, what kind of role would yours be?
Well, I mean, I suppose at the stage of a new original band getting together, the manager is really the one who looks after all the departments, the marketing, the merchandise, and keeps a tight ship of, making sure you're recording and your demos or what you're putting out is up to scratch, making sure that there's venues and stuff like that know about your band. It's really like I'm the team, me and a band, or me and the artist are the whole team, and we do everything. I think there's so many people like yourself who are doing everything, and that can be a struggle, So realistically, once you move up in the world, and if you're managing someone like Sam Fender, you have people to do that. So generally, the manager would be busy liaising those people together and just really taking ownership of making sure that the merch is done on time. The live agent is booking enough shows or booking them in line with what the record label want. But at this stage, it's really the groundwork. And getting out there and speaking to people. Making sure people know about your band.
Yeah,
which is difficult to do.
Absolutely, especially like I say when it's like new bands.
Yes,
it's
because it's most music, which I think is why I think this particular podcast will be something useful for people watching, because a lot of musicians, especially if they're anything like me, are just fucking useless. It's general, just like getting themselves promoted, and
a lot of them are. I'm sick of their Instagram tags.
Do you know what it is? I think it's just that you're the creative. Your passion and desire is to record good music and get it out there. But a lot of the time, you lack the organisation to go and do. And that's a generalisation. But I think when it's getting a bit more serious, and a record label get involved or anything like that, it's really a lot for a band to handle. And you need someone who's going to look after you as well. A lot of managers, they just start by being someone's friend first and foremost. I know a lot of artists who just have their friend as their manager. They didn't know anything about the scene.
The manager, but it's the mate who just wants to be part of the band but doesn't know how to play an instrument.
Seen a few of them.
And someone who can make sure that no one's going to try and rip you off. Really, always look out for your best intentions. And I know, so I see so many bands come around and they've got that one mate who drives them to a gig or is their merch man, but doesn't want to take that role of, I'm the music manager, so to speak. And I tell them, just do it. Give it a go. You've got nothing to lose. At this stage, we're not making any money. So it's not like I'm taking, I've got agreements in place with the band I manage, but I don't take any money out of their pot. What's the point of me taking 20% of a £100 gig? There's no point in that right now. Well, when they start making money, I'll make some money as well. That's the idea.
Yeah. Absolutely. So are you allowed to name any of the bands that you've got under your management?
Yeah, so at the moment I've just got Bear Park.
Right.
They're from Chelsea Street, Chelsea Street and Gateshead. Yeah. In case they're watching, because they get very touchy about the Gateshead thing.
Of course, they're watching, guys.
But I've just got them at the moment. I've had a few other bands that they've either they split up or they've gone to different management. But yeah, just at the moment Bear Park, and it's going really well. And I've been looking at some other bands and stuff like that, but I've got so much going on with Bear Park right now. You know, we've just been offered a record deal with Gary Powell from the Libertines.
Oh, cool.
So they've been in and out of the studio demoing stuff, and that's pretty mad at the moment. And on top of that, I'm promoting live gigs and stuff like that. So, I think sometimes you see a bit, you see a talent and you think, I've got to try and do something.
Give it a go.
But for me, it's also about building a relationship. You know, you can't just walk in and see a band in the corner and say, I'm going to manage you. You know,
I'm going to make you big. Your name in big lights.
You know, you. For me, it's about building a relationship and showing them that it's not just about the money. You know, I care about people, and
it's important, isn't it? Like,
the three lads in Bear Park, you know, I really care about them as lads. You know, and first and foremost, their friendship together, and you know, the relationship with their parents and stuff like that. And that's the most important thing. There's so many artists that go around, not so much at this level, but big artists that go around who just don't love it anymore. You know, they've fallen out of love with it, you know, and that's because the music scene just sucks it out of you, you know, and that's the reality, you know.
Yeah.
It is. It's not the music, it's the industry, isn't
yes.
it? And that's the thing what a lot of people forget. It is an industry.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's people are there to make money, and it's just like it's a very big, saturated industry.
Yeah.
Very competitive. And it's and it can be very demanding.
Yeah, it can be. It can be. I mean, like even like when I look at your schedule, Connor, you know, and you're out playing filthies at, you know, half 10 at night and stuff like that. I think I don't know how you're doing it.
I don't. I'm on 3 hours sleep in the last 48 hours.
Yeah,
it's great.
you know, and that
7 gigs or whatever that was.
that is mad. You know, that's mad going. But that's what it gets like. I remember when back when Ed Sheeran was just sort of gaining popularity. I lived in London at the time, and he played a pub not very far from me with about 40 people in. And that was the year that he did 360 odd gigs in 1 year. You know, he did some days he did multiple shows in one day just to get his name out there. You know, and at the time he had the same manager he's got now actually, but that was just someone who believed in him. And his merch guy was, I think it was his uncle or something like that. And I spoke to his merch guy quite a bit, and just he's kept that team. I don't think obviously the merch guy is no longer the merch guy now, but he's still within the team. You know,
that's interesting.
Yeah. And there's some other bands that go around and they've kept, although things get bigger, they've kept the same people around, you know. While they might not be doing the role they were doing originally, they're still around somewhere.
They just grow the team. They don't sort of like chop and change.
Because if they've been there from the start, it's as you say, like they're going to care about the artist. And you know, the bigger you get, the more potential people are going to try and shaft you and
100%.
manipulate you. And you're going to sign something that is not in your best interest.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth keeping people who've been in that game, who from the start, who kind of know what they're talking about, to kind of guide you.
Yeah, there's also the other thing as well is like, I think a lot of you guys will have it. If you've got someone, you know, whether it be a partner or a good friend who comes out to a lot of shows with you and, you know, it's just there and being helpful, ask them if they want to have a go at managing you. You know, they've got nothing to lose, you know. And just see if they, you know, if the emails can go through via them. Because also, if I'm a promoter, it looks a lot more professional saying, oh, if you just email my manager, that'd be great. And I was, you know,
talk to my manager.
You know, I mean, some people may say it looks pretentious, but for a promoter, if you're sort of a fairly big promoter, that's the way it's done normally is through a booking agent or through a manager, or, you know, and it just looks that little bit more professional.
Yeah.
You know.
So that was going to be one of my questions. How would someone who's looking to like be managed, I think you've kind of answered it anyway, how would they go about like looking for a manager? Is it just that easy, just asking someone, listen, do you want a manager? Because as you say, at this stage, it's like you're not, if you're only getting like selling 3 or 4 tickets to a show, you're not exactly going to be get a manager and sell 1 or 2. It's not that much difference, is it?
Do you know what it is? I think there is music managers in the Northeast scene. You know, I mean, Andrew Cushion's got a local manager. I'm a local manager. There's plenty of others as well. You can reach out to them. You know, you can find them. If you go onto an act's Instagram or whatever, it will say management at whatever.
Yeah.
You know, drop them an email. You've got nothing to. You know, this is the thing. People are scared of like, you know, emailing and putting themselves out there and stuff like that. But really, as an artist, you've got to, and you've got to within the music scene. You know, we used to have this thing like back in the day when I first started doing it that people would email you demos and stuff like that all the time, and I think people are worried too now because they're like, oh well, Lee must get hundreds of demos
Sounds cliche,
anyway,
doesn't it?
Yeah.
So
Like,
why,
you know, like
why
we-
would I bother? Like,
people used to send demos to record labels all the time, and apparently now record labels just aren't getting demos anymore. You know, they're
Get them sent out, guys.
you know what? That's a really good point because people, they don't send them to record labels. They send them to like Submit Hub and
Yeah.
to get on a Spotify playlist
Yeah.
that you've got to pay for.
Yeah.
You get charged like it's like I don't know how much you get charged, but yeah, that's a good point actually.
Yeah,
Get some CDs built out and get them sent to like these record labels.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a thing that they, not so much in sort of like the acoustic scene or even the band scene, but in the grime scene especially, they were putting stuff on CDs and literally just going to gigs and handing them out. Just anyone. Have you got anything to do with the music industry? Yeah, take my CD.
Yeah.
You know, and just give it a listen. And I think we've gone so far away from that now because everything's done online. But actually, there's that little
Ironically,
bit of, yeah,
it makes the market
if
better.
there's not many people doing that, then
Yeah.
that's going to make you stand out of the crowd.
yeah, and 100%, you're gonna you know that CD or that demo that you email off is gonna fall on 100 deaf ears before it falls on one that someone says,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, I really like you, or it's not for me. However, think about this, this, and this. And if you get even just a snippet of information out of that,
Yeah.
fantastic. You know,
Yeah.
that's what it's really about.
That's everything works like with yourself. I think we worked together last year.
Yeah.
We weren't officially signed in to work. It was kind of like we'll help each other out kind of thing. I've done plenty of like cover gigs for yourself.
Yes, yeah.
And that was it. I'll not mention any band names, but there was a band that you had worked with that stopped working with at the time. I
Yeah.
was like, well, if you're looking for a project, and we sat down in like Starbucks or something and just discussed.
That's for your home.
Yeah, what the
thing,
best
yeah,
options
yeah.
were. And he's like, if you've got anything upbeat, I was like, I don't have a lot of upbeat stuff, but I've got one song called Home.
Yeah.
And then it was like, well, it wasn't so much a case of let's get onto it. It was more like a point in the right direction.
Yeah.
Like, use that as a demo, go to a different studio, try this and work with that. And
Yeah, I think the thing is as well, people are limited on money.
Yeah.
So a lot of people aren't making demos anymore. They're just they like, we've got a great song, we'll rehearse it time and time again, and then we're going to save up that 300 quid or whatever it is now, and we're going to go to the studio, record it, and then that's going to be our one song we're going to push.
Yeah.
But there's no like real like, you know, think about a release plan. There's no, you know, and a lot of the time, so I mean, all the big bands will do it. They'll demo a song and they sit on it for a while and they're like, is that really, you know, is it right, or do we think of this bridge, or you know?
Yeah, because honestly, it's almost like refreshing your ears if you forget about a song for a while and then come back to it.
Yeah.
I've got hundreds and hundreds of little phone recordings,
Yeah.
and every now and then I go on, if I've got like an hour journey, I just play them on shuffle,
Yeah.
and there's an occasional like 30 seconds of a particular song. Ooh, I forgot about that. That sounds all right
we did
actually.
that
Like,
yours the other night. I was like, I can't remember putting a bass line in that. And it was just like a big behind
yeah,
the
I
song.
was like,
I was like,
"Ooh." Yeah, because the demos. I mean, that's because I just didn't have any time. But
Yeah.
we recorded them like September or something.
yeah.
Only got back to them
This is
and like
another thing about demos. It's like when the record label first got in touch about Bear Park. Obviously, they'd heard the release on Spotify, but they said, what we want to do, we want to come and see you. We're going to have a meeting with you afterwards if we're interested. So I set up a gig, especially for them coming up. We've got 200 of their mates in to the Academy 2 at the time, or it's now NX, but we've got 200 of their mates in there. Obviously, they had a great gig because they were headlining. It was all their friends there. The label came down. He was like, that's great. I want to meet you tomorrow for a couple of hours. We ended up being there for like 4 hours
Yeah.
chatting with him. And he said, listen, I'm going to give you a deadline. You got like 5 weeks to get 7 brand new songs. And I want you to have demos of them. And the lads are like, oh my word, like what? How are we going to do this? And he
just
said,
do it, don't you?
Yeah,
Just
he's
fuck-
like,
yeah.
just do it on your phone. I don't care about the quality. I just want to
Just want the
hear
demo, not the final track.
Yeah, I just want to hear. There's a gist of a song there. Is it catchy? Is there a bridge in there? You know, is there a good chorus? It doesn't need to be like perfect. And this is a guy who's willing to put. You know, it's not a major label, but a guy who's willing to put a good few grand behind a band. You know, which we wouldn't be able to do without. You know, at the moment we're 12 tracks in, and they've spent like nearly $8,000. And that's without, I mean, the producer is Gary Powell and it's his label. So he's spent time coming up producing, trained up and down. We went to Margate for a week in the Libertine studio as well. And he's not billed for any of his time. You know, he's just doing it as a passion project, but someone is paying for the studio time.
Yeah.
You know, and that's $8,000. And I just think to myself, there's no way, I don't know any other band really that can afford an $8,000, you know, to put that money in.
Yeah, especially not local-wise.
But if they hadn't have sent those demos and showed that they could work to that, or just do the basic groundwork beforehand, they wouldn't have got that $8,000. You know.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Don't worry too much about your demos. Just get stuff out and show them.
Yeah. Like, obviously, don't release it to the general public.
Yeah,
'cause
obviously,
you want your fans to hear the best version.
Yeah, you want your final product to be like pristine.
But definitely, record it on your phone, or if you've got a basic setup, you can get yourself a mic and there's free software on a laptop that you can get that you can record a song to. Audacity is one of them. And just sit on it for a little while and think, actually, is that chorus right? Is it catchy enough, or does that reflect me as an artist? I think sometimes we go through, and I said this about your album. There's some fantastic songs on there, but it really lacked the real oomph.
Yeah.
And there's no disrespect to the guys working on it. But sometimes it's better to hold back and release something that's amazing, rather than just release for the sake of releasing.
Yeah. In terms of demos, you want quantity. In terms of releases, you want quality.
Yeah,
that's
100%. Yeah,
absolutely.
And going back to the original point, it's just send it to people. You've lost nothing by sending an email. It's free to send, and just send it out there. And you might have to, like I say, email 100 people before one person gets back to you. But if that one person gets back to you and shows a bit of interest, that's massive. It can be massive. You know.
Yeah. So obviously yourself is music management.
Yes.
Do you know what the role of a record label is? Because if I was to message one and be like, "Oh, I'm looking for a record label," and they're right, cool. What are you after? But I don't know. I just know it's generic what people are after.
Yeah, I mean, so the record label, and then it gets confusing because there's record labels, there's publishers, there's loads of different people who play a part in getting an album out there. So a record label generally will fund the recording,
right?
And they'll put the right people in place to make sure that recording is what they want, basically, what's going to work on their label. And then basically what they do is they will sign a contract with you. There's no number of different types of contracts. Yeah. The most now that most young artists get is what they call a net profit contract, which would be we pay for everything. And then once that's released, we're going to recoup everything back first. And then any profit we make, we're going to split 50-50 with you.
Okay.
So it's a loan.
Yeah. It's a loan, but
interest-free loan.
Yeah. But
it's a loan. You're not just, but it's a loan with a direction of industry standards, professionals. You're better off doing. What would you say? You'd be better off doing that than just getting out a random loan. Although I guess a bank and stuff would be like, well, I want to record an album. I need 10 grand.
I think there's flip sides to it. I mean, a lot of people get offered record deals that really aren't very good record deals, and they are there to rip the artist off, and that happens a lot. Yeah, even with big artists, excuse me. People do get ripped off, and it still happens today. I don't know if you've seen the Elvis movie. Yeah. But I mean, that was his management. But people, I think get some advice. If you ever get offered a record deal from whoever it is, if it's a small independent or a major or whatever, definitely. I mean, if you join the musicians union, I think the first year's £1. I want to say.
Yeah, it's something.
Yeah, and then if you're a professional, or whatever, it's £20 a month. But you get a solicitor who will look over contracts with you. They won't give you in-depth thing, but they'll say, this point doesn't make sense, or look at this, look at that, and just show it to a few people you trust as well. And get some second opinions, because I have friends who have had record deals and it's gone sour, and there's a lot of money owed to different people, and that then puts a whole different strain on being an artist.
Yeah, I've heard horror stories like. Yeah, I kind of thought, is it better to do the record or just you
do. I mean, I suppose the difference is a record label. It's their job as well. They're basically taking part in it, saying that we're going to push this along and we're going to help you get some money back out of it. Yeah. Whereas if you get a bank loan, they don't care if it sells or not. They want their money back.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I mean, a record label do want that as well, but the record label will put some effort into it to get it to where they think it needs to be. Yeah,
and they know they've got contacts and they've got so they can put it on the radio and stuff like that.
The other benefit is if they trust you enough and they're fairly decent, they'll give you an advance. So they pay you a lump sum of money, which basically helps you survive for a bit until the album comes out, So I mean, I dread to think what some of the big artists get, but I mean, so like for example, I know the Libertines on one of their albums, I'm not sure about now, but on one of their albums they paid £150,000 as an advance, and that basically is meant to be like a signing on, if you like, but that does come out of the money as well. That's what you got to be careful about. So so you could be offered £5,000. and then the recording costs 10 grand, that's 15 grand they've got to recoup before you make any money whatsoever.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the net profit contract. And there's other contracts as well. You know, there's other contracts that basically just say, once this is out, you will get 13% of everything it makes. But obviously, the other side of that is you're getting a lot less than the 50%.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But you're not. Yeah, it's technically less risk.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you're not getting as much out of it in the long term. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean that's the record label, and then you've got a publisher who's in charge of basically putting that out there in front of people. You know, getting it out to the right distributors and stuff like that. And that's sort of more in depth, and I would hope that a record label would help you through with that. You know, that's not the sort of thing that you just go about willy nilly. You know, normally a record label generally will have a publisher that they tend to work with.
Yeah.
And they'll see you through.
That's informative. That.
Very informative. Honest to God, I think this is going to be really invaluable to many people.
We get like a lot of musicians that watch the episodes.
Yeah.
More so than music lovers.
You know, I don't know everything, and it's still even now. You know, I'm lucky that I come from a fairly musical background. You know, and my dad was a singer in numerous bands and got offered record deals and stuff like that. Never actually signed one because they're all rubbish. But but you know, I suppose until it comes up, you just think I'm searching for this thing, and I know a lot of bands now like the independent thing, and I get that. I totally get why you do that. But in the same sense is unless you've got someone who's got a bit of cash behind you, you're going to struggle.
Yeah,
you know?
that's basic. I mean, you see a lot of people try and make it on their own, and I mention this a lot. A lot of these people can be self-sufficient anyway because they've got mummy and daddy who can afford. I'd say that patronisingly. I shouldn't really, but it's but
and the music scene is still a massive game of luck.
Oh yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
There's a lot of it. You know, there's some fantastic. I mean, in the Northeast alone, there's some amazing talent, absolutely amazing talent.
Yeah.
And I just think, you know, and I message them or whatever, and I say, "How's it going? You know, tell me what's going on with you." And they're like, oh, "I'm just playing this gig down the road," and I'm like, "Why is nothing happening?"
Yeah.
You know, and I suppose that goes back to the thing of people would say, "Well, why aren't you managing them then?" But
you can't manage everyone.
You can't manage everyone. Yeah, if I managed everyone that I really like the sound of, I would have no time in the day to do it. You know, I think sometimes you better to concentrate on what what you've been working on for a while, maybe, or something that you truly believe in. You know, because it's attitude as well. You know, I get a lot of bands message me who are fantastic, but you know their weekend is spent on the piss and not out there playing gigs or in the studio. You know, they rehearse once in a blue moon and all that, and you think, well, are you taking this seriously or not? You know,
that is some musicians, don't it?
Yeah, most musicians. To be honest.
Oh no, don't get me wrong. You can have fun. You're allowed to have fun, but you know, and you know what? The part of that is networking as well. You know, going down to the pub and having a drink, But yeah, you know, I get musicians that say, I've got no money, you know, we've got no money to do anything. I think, well, yeah, but if you went out every Saturday, you know, Friday and Saturday, you'd have something, you know. Yeah,
it's about reinvesting, isn't it? That's the thing. You get paid, and then the first thing you should be thinking about is like, oh, what can I spend this money on to help the...
And also another thing to note as well is that music managers are not there to put money in. You know, the idea is not that not like a record label, you know, and people get that confused. You know, they think, oh, I've got a manager now, so that means I'll be able to do everything I couldn't do before. But actually, what it just means is I'm gonna try and help you along the way.
You're the extra band member.
Yeah,
that's basically
100%.
That's
I am when they want me to be.
But well, the thing is, it's obviously it's why you call it like the fifth Beatle. Like it's you know, and
sixth. There was a fifth one.
There was a fifth. There was a sixth. There's you know how many Beatles?
The ninth Beatle.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean that's what a manager is. I imagine it's an extra band member who just like helps promote and stuff like that. Does all the legwork behind the scenes.
So before we take a break for part two, if you could give any musicians watching one sentence of advice, what would it be?
Not to put you under pressure.
I know the biggest. It is, isn't it?
That is massive.
But like the biggest tip you think would go down well for anyone.
Network. The key thing is networking. Yeah, that is the key thing.
I'm slowly figuring that out.
Yeah,
doing this.
That is
we've got this,
pretty much.
That's a massive thing. Is I don't know if I'm allowed to elaborate. Am I allowed to elaborate, or is it just one sentence?
No,
networking is a massive thing because literally, if you look at even artists now, Andrew Cushion, to be, you know, he's gone out there and he's met people and now they want him on the show because they think he's a nice guy. Don't get me wrong, he's absolutely smashing it, like music wise as well. But you want people who've got your back.
Yeah.
You know, and this is like a massive thing. So I do the festivals, as you know, like you've come along and played them. And if I get a young band on and they're really class guys and they come around and, you know, they appreciate the time, they don't take the piss out of the green room and stuff like that, you know, out of the bar, then I'm more likely to say, do you know what? They're good lads. I'll look out for them. Even if I can't manage them, I'll look out for them, you know. And that's a massive thing. Go around and meet people. Go to other people's gigs as well. There's a lot of that not happening anymore.
Yeah.
You know, we used to go and support other people's shows all the time. And I was saying this to the lads the other day, because we've been so busy, we haven't been to shows. But that's not a good enough excuse. Go to shows and just go and support another artist.
Show your face
With
as
that
well.
said, I went to Neil Electrics on Friday.
Saw the pictures.
Really good show, guys. Really, really great. I've never been to the Independent in Sunderland before.
It's a nice. Well, it's a sticky floor venue.
But it was a lovely venue, but they put on a really good show. So congratulations
I saw
on
the
that.
light work.
I think it was a sellout in the end.
But
yeah, clearly you guys are watching that.
It's better be. I'm joking.
But yeah, I think we'll call that part 1.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we'll come back to part 2 in a moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. I'm gonna return to this sound effect.
There you go.
Put on the beer.
What was that?
Welcome back to side 2.
I like that we haven't got a headset on, but you can still hear that.
I've done it deliberately there. See, Connor forgot his. Well, he hasn't forgot his bag. It was at his.
He's just being lazy.
Yeah.
Let's just put it down.
He has.
And he's the ones. He's the one who has the mic holders and all of the headphones. So we're lacking.
We're
both.
actually having to like listen to each other. Wow.
Yeah, I know.
I hate it. He also didn't structure the podcast well, because normally the first question we get is, "What are you drinking, guys?"
Oh Christ! Yeah. Jesus.
Well, it's not very exciting, to be fair. I'm just drinking a Coke.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really much of a drinker, to be fair.
That's
That's
fair.
maybe why I'm in the management, because I can always stay sober and drive the van everywhere.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I
Actually.
usually get 1 pint at a gig. That's about it. Have you guessed what yours is yet?
It's a nice.
Yes, for a mystery drink, so I went.
Is it cider?
No,
No, it's like it's a sour.
it is.
Is it that plum one?
It's not.
It's not. I'm not gonna say it didn't
Looks
taste plummy.
It's the new one.
Yeah. I'm gonna say it's like a cherry.
It is a cherry.
Cherry.
sour.
Oh,
There
look
you
at
go.
that!
There you go.
I'm gonna give myself a foot round of applause for that. That's the first time guessed correctly a drink.
I mean, it was a second guess, but you know,
He's going to edit that, and you're
I'm
going to
gonna-
like a dick
yeah.
for saying the second guess. What are you about? I just said it the first time.
I can't edit
My
it.
bad.
Cherry sour.
I can't edit it now because you said I'm gonna edit it.
Yeah, I was going to get myself that. But remember when we first started the podcast,
And
and for 6 weeks I was only drinking water because I was
Yes.
getting ready for a stag do, and then they took
getting
off.
ready for
I know.
6 weeks.
Usually, I like.
Prepping it, you know.
Usually, I'm kind of like getting myself built up. Kind of
Yeah,
like I got myself a Rocky montage.
I was trying to make a cheap stag do. I've had to piss on the first pint.
cheap stuff. Nice, yeah.
And they had a milk stout downstairs, and this episode I came back from the stag, right, I'll have one. Oh, we don't do that one anymore. Bastards.
Oh, God.
But they do today.
Oh, they got that.
Oh,
Sweet. Get me an applause for this, James.
Oh, I was gonna say, I
So,
think this is going to be the podcast with the most applauses.
the shit that doesn't matter.
We haven't even done that much. Jeez, just applauding away.
Yeah. Yeah, that's normally how we start the podcast. It's like, what are you drinking? Then we go into how, blah, blah. But we've done that.
yeah,
So,
there you go.
part 2. You've got a couple of Just Ask
Yeah, I
James on
do.
your phone, don't you?
Hang on, let me get this. See, this is how prepared I am. This is Reddit. Hang on, let's get on Reddit. Right, so this is the part of the show where it's called Just Ask James. I mean, we are keeping it Just Ask James, aren't we?
I like the alliteration to rather than just ask the pod.
Just Ask the pod. All right then. Okay.
Call it Judge for
So
short.
this is part of this is where we go on Reddit and r/musicians, and there's always people with dilemmas and problems in the music world.
With that in mind, it doesn't have to be Reddit. If you've got any problems, email
Oh,
us
yeah.
off the stage UK
We're more than-
gmail.com, and we'll put them on here as well.
We're
But
more than happy to give our professional or unprofessional advice. If
we're
you
happy
will.
to take the piss if you want.
Yeah, pretty much. Anyway, so the cesspit that is Reddit. We look at people's dilemmas from around the world, mainly anonymous musicians, and we try to help them out and try to answer them. So this one, this is like a manager special because I saw this and I knew we were gonna get Lee on. So this is from Mills3000 username. How do you tell a friend they won't make it in music management? Okay.
Oh,
So, my friend is a bootstrapped music manager. I don't know what bootstrap means in this context.
rubbish. I don't know.
Yeah, anyway. My friend is a bootstrapped music manager and just has no ear for music, in my opinion. He's poured hundreds of thousands of dollars, fucking hell, in the person he manages for around 5 years and has gone down the drain, in my opinion. He's managing a rapper and I've just never heard a good song from this guy in all this time. The thing is, my friend is quite involved in the creative process, which is why I think he has no ear for music, but he wants it so much. Another issue is also the fact the person can be a bit aggressive, so nobody is going to say the truth. How do I tell him to call it a day?
Wow.
So that's
Well, first of all, I would say music is subjective. You know,
Yeah.
just because Millie 3000 was it?
Mills 3000.
Mills 3000 doesn't like it doesn't mean that everyone doesn't.
Yeah.
How would you?
Couple £100,000
Yeah.
suggests that not everybody does.
Yeah,
as
it
well.
does. Yeah, it does. Another thing to mention with that as well is
It's a lot.
it's generally I would say that your manager shouldn't really be putting much into the creative. You know,
Yeah.
obviously opinions great,
Yeah.
but shouldn't be doing loads in the creative.
Yeah.
The creative space. But I suppose going back to that, if they're your friend, you've just got to be honest.
Yeah.
I think you know, and also if he wants to pump hundreds of thousands of pounds into someone, is that their place to say?
his
You know,
thing.
yeah.
I mean, my thing would be, it's what we're kind of talking about in the first part about the whole networking, and if the guy's generally nice people, you give them more of a shot. But he says here that the guy can be a bit aggressive, so that's probably another thing.
Is he talking about the music? The manager can be aggressive.
The artist
can be aggressive.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's gonna. I mean, he says he's a rapper, which
I would be
apparently
worried
is a-
about an aggressive rapper, to be
Yeah.
honest with you.
I know, flipping that guy.
Just leave them to it. Just leave them to it. You know what, you make shot.
But
Yeah.
to be fair, all you have to do is tell them that you're shit. And then they'll put like a little hate track out, and then that'll go viral. And
Yeah,
you'll be like,
yeah.
I want credit for that.
That's a good point, actually.
I think you know, everyone's got opinions. But obviously, if he's putting hundreds of thousands in, he must have that money from somewhere. You know,
Yeah.
and I suppose it's just about being honest and saying, listen, I don't dig what you're doing, and I'm worried about you. You know, as a friend. And yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I've got for that.
Yeah.
I think you should tell them to invest in podcasts.
Yeah.
And we should be the first one that we...
Yeah, I'd like to say yes. Although no creative output, we didn't want any aggressive rappers on the show.
They might pay £100,000 for them to be on the show, though. I bet you'd have them on then, wouldn't you?
We'll take a little sponsor.
What about if you had to have their artists on
That's fine with me.
for £1,000? Would you do
I
it for
always said
£1,000?
he was the best
I
artist
would-
going.
That is what's wrong with the music industry.
I'd be a complete sellout for $1,000.
that is what's wrong with the music. I've got £1,000. Come on the show.
How mint are you? Yeah.
Come on the show. Doesn't mean it's going to go anywhere.
No, it's. I mean, most people. 31 elephant in the room. He's commented
I
saying.
thought that was a comment.
No, it was. I saying don't. He's gaining experience, and when the time is right, he'll be prepared for that client that's ready. Even if not, let the man enjoy his hobby. He obviously enjoys doing what he does and spending
Spending a
hundreds of
fortune,
thousands.
yeah.
If you had £100,000 to spend on a band, what would the first thing you'd do? What would be the first thing you'd do?
Stop gigging cover gigs.
I would,
Yeah.
I would invest in some good merchandise to start off with.
Ooh.
Yeah, you know what a massive thing is? If you give out a load of free merchandise, that is the way forward. Like in your first, like in your first,
Actually,
like
start chucking key rings at people at my
yeah,
last
it
gig.
is
Cheers.
literally because people love like we did. In fact, you did it the first Steel Town we did during lockdown, and we had it in a social club in concert, and people were sitting at tables, you know, socially distanced and all that. And I remember this band came on called New Mode from Scotland, and they said, listen, in that box up the front, we got hundreds and hundreds of CDs of our EP. Come grab them; they're free, and we've got a lighter in there as well. You can grab a lighter as well. You should have seen it. I mean, I was thinking at the back as the promo, oh, COVID, they're not meant to get up. But everyone, even if they didn't like the band, they were up grabbing that CD. And that CD might land in someone else's hand, you know, and that goes back to that. I mean, people love a freebie.
Yeah,
People love a
that's-
freebie. And there's no better advertising than a bunch of cool kids walking around with your name on their shirt.
Yeah,
I think the best merch thing you tell us was about the lighters.
Yeah,
Where
everyone loves the lighter.
You just
Everyone
give
has a
someone a
light-
free lighter
yeah.
with a QR code on.
Oh,
you
God,
got a light,
that's
mate.
a
Yeah,
good
there
idea.
you go. Oh, what's this? There you go. It's
You do the same
Never
with
would've
beer
thought of
mats,
that.
couldn't you? You just sneak into a pub and just shove a few beer mats in the...
Yeah, beer mats are a good one. I mean, I've seen people with business cards with QR codes, they just lob them out on all the tables and
Yeah.
you know, scan it, and then it takes a link onto Linktree or whatever. But But yeah, if I had £100,000, I'd probably pay for a good promotion campaign as well. You know, because you can get some good ones. Who will take your money and do some good things with it. But there's a lot of dodgy ones out there as well.
So if you had £100,000 to say Bear Park, how much of that would you spend on a good promotion campaign and think, I don't want to spend too much, but the right amount? What would you say would be the right amount for them?
I suppose at this level, probably about sort of maybe £10,000. But off the back of an EP or an album, I wouldn't just do it on a single. Because that. In the grand scheme of things, they're not a massive band. You could chuck 50 grand in there, but you probably throw most of it down the drain. You know, you might spend 10 grand, and 2 grand of that might be worthwhile, and the 8 grand's not. You might just get one plugger who plugs it to the right radio station at the right time, and then you're on air. But I wouldn't expect to see any of that 10 grand back, 100 grand back.
No.
That's the reality of it. If you get a play at the moment, and this might be wrong, but at the moment, I believe if you get played on Radio 1, you get £40.
Oh, really?
What? It's not bad, that. Huh?
It's not bad, but it's only not bad if you're on the A list and you get played a lot during that day.
Yeah.
If you only just get one play as a band and you spent 2 grand trying to get that play,
that's like £10 each. Yeah. I too got
So yeah, I mean, I think you can throw money at things all you like, and I've seen it time and time again with artists who've got loads of good money, but it's about getting the right people around you for sure.
Yeah,
merchandise is the best way. Merchandise and good good quality recording.
Merchandise, good quality recording. I mean, musicians. It's like you need to treat musicians as a brand, really, isn't
100%.
it? It's like that's the crux of it.
Yeah.
So the brand, you got the merchandise, and again you've got the personality as well.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
That's a massive thing. Personality.
Yeah.
People, I'm pretty sure I said this to you before, but there's like now this whole wave, of acts coming through that are relatable, that you would love to go down the pub with. Like, when you think of Ed Sheeran, Lewis Capaldi, Anne-Marie, they're the ones that
play on that, don't they?
Yeah, and I think we had in the past, we had the gods. We had like Noel Gallagher and stuff like that, people that you idolise, Paul Weller.
It's a fallen age, that, isn't it? It's
I mean, it will come back round again. There's no doubt. So there's definitely space for it, but people want to feel like they can go for a drink with you.
Yeah.
And that's why when you see Ed Sheeran and Stormzy down the pub, and doing that thing, that they're doing that because, well, they want to. But the second thing is they know that's going to be all over social media, and people think they're good guys. Yeah. And they are good. I mean, I don't know either of them personally, but I get the impression. You got
that idea,
yeah.
So,
well, I believe that anyway, even if they're not, and that's because of that video.
So Stormzy, Ed,
come on the podcast.
We're in a pub. We're drinking. We're relatable.
And if they're coming on, you let me know. I'll be straight down here.
Well, Jack Black and Lewis Capaldi didn't reply.
Honestly, if we did that, we'd have to we could sell tickets for the pod. Do like a podcast show.
I think it would be better if we did it in secret, and then the amount of people that come the following week.
Oh
yes.
And then we'd have Bear Park on.
We'll do that. Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, I'll spend 100 grand and get Stormzy here. That's what I would do.
Yes. Okay. There we go.
Because he would probably come out for 100 grand. Yeah.
I reckon. Yeah.
But if you do it for free, let one know.
Yeah.
We'll clip this out. We'll tweet it to you.
Yeah. I'll do that actually. Yeah.
Well, just give her a thumbs up or thumbs down.
Yeah.
Both of them mean yes.
I was going to say not thumbs down. Yeah.
Was there any more?
There was a one here. This is by username MavCK. It's not really a dilemma. It's just an old guy rant about current trends.
Okay.
Love a rant.
So it's just, I hate the memetisation. I did that very dramatic, didn't I? I hate the memetisation of music.
That's a soundboard clip, by the way.
I'll do it again. Okay. I hate the memetisation of music.
Knock your pint over.
I know, fucking hell. I see all these extremely virtuous and talented players reducing their skill to making stupid meme videos instead of using their time and making amazing music. That's all. Get off my lawn. I didn't write this, by the way.
Did he put the get off my lawn on there?
He did, yeah. You may get off my lawn.
Class. That's a proper rant.
I thought you were saying the piss.
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, but that's an interesting thing of like current trends, isn't it? That's because it's the part of the relatability thing, is people want to be like you're the friend. Yeah.
Do you know what it is as well? There's so many things that even I don't get. I feel old now. I mean, I'm only 30, but the Bear Park lads are 19, and they do this thing where that don't capitalize things at the start of a set. It's all like lowercase. There's full stops, but it's all lowercase. And I'm like, lads, what happened to capital letters? And he's like, oh, it's not the done thing anymore. You know,
Is it not?
No, apparently not.
It's funny
Apparently
because
not.
you see like
Threw me
boomers
right off
arguing on Facebook and it's all capital letters. It's like,
So I think it's
Just
either,
like names in the beginning of
I think it's
sentences.
all or nothing now. Yeah, you're
it is
gonna do it
like-
all,
it's
or you
like-
don't do anything at all. You know, but apparently that's not the done thing, and it is a bugbear of mine. But it's something that other bands that they like are doing, and it's sort of getting on that trend of like, you know, people, you know, it's like
It's such a random trend.
yeah, it's
That's
weird.
not something I
all
would've picked up
lowercase
on.
letters.
It's weird. It's not something that I noticed myself until they started sending me things that they wanted to go, you know, as statements or whatever. I'm like, lads, where's this grammar come from?
Yeah.
You know, they're like, no, it's done on purpose. I'm like, who's done this on purpose? And they're like, oh, these other bands do it. I said, send me things where they've done it.
Yeah.
And they sent me things. I was like,
Jesus.
yeah, they have been doing that. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
It's a fun fact though. If you ever see, you probably don't notice. Well, you probably do, but if you ever kind of driving down the road and you see all the road signs and stuff, obviously naturally you're gonna see road signs. It's all lowercase because the human brain can pick up lowercase words easier than uppercase. So
But
when
a
you
capital
so
C
you
is just a larger version.
yeah, so it's so you're concentrating on the road a lot more because it's all.
Oh,
all
well, there you go.
lowercase.
I never
So-
knew that.
So maybe he's onto something there.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, going back to his rant, I think, you know, there's so many artists who've been doing it for quite a while who rant about different things. You know, that pop music in the charts, but it goes around. You know, apparently indie's making a bit of a comeback. You know,
Yeah.
and then it'd be dance music at some point, and there'd be pop music, and it goes around in a circle. You know, I mean, when I was young, Eminem was the big thing. You know, rap
Yeah.
music was all over the top of the pops. You know, but previously Nirvana had been on top of the pops.
Yeah,
You know,
that's it.
before that, and it goes around.
Yeah.
You know, and memes are here right now, and I'm sure in a few years' time it'll be something else that's come along. You know,
Well, it's also like look at the draw, trying to get the trend. It's not necessarily like viral videos.
there's
It's
only-
making sure your music fits in.
There's
Yeah.
a few people
Like,
who know, few people right at the very top who know what's gonna come in next.
yeah.
And you've just got to be like lucky to get kind
Yeah.
of.
Well, that's another thing a record label would hopefully do for you is they'd
Yeah.
say, well, we've noticed this trend happening, and before it hits, you're going to be doing it.
Yeah,
you know?
that's an important thing.
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah,
That's pretty
so I just got to look at when I released Home. I got a lot of feedback going, oh, this sounds quite 80s.
Because that was.
And
that
then
was a
the
thing,
same
wasn't
time they were saying that Harry Styles came out with like an 80s track, and then Kate Bush came back, and I was like, this might have just hit
Yeah,
the right
and
time.
flares are coming back. I
Yeah.
was out the other night driving through town. The flares and the hills and all that is
Mullets.
making it-
Well,
Yeah,
I'm
mullets,
growing
yeah.
mine out right
yeah.
as we speak.
Yeah, guy from Bear
Not a
Park.
fan.
Guy from Bear Park, the guitarist has a mullet,
Yeah.
and it's a killer mullet.
Aye, it's
So,
honestly-
I mean, I've got no chance to be honest with you,
I
but
said this about 10 years ago. I was like, mullets are going to make a comeback. And I was laughed at. Well, who's laughing now?
normally the people at
Yeah.
who've got mullets, but you know,
Us bald are going bald folk
Yeah.
are laughing
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Be there
yeah.
soon.
One day we'll have our moment. The bald people.
The bald will make a.
Yeah, yeah.
Is
Yeah.
bald ever a thing? No, bald's always been a thing, and it's
Yeah.
bold and proud.
I hope so. I'm going with it
Damn
anyway.
right.
But
It's like bald and beard now, isn't it?
Yeah.
yeah,
You can't
it's
just
a
be a
big
full
thing.
egghead.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
gotta be-
It's a big thing. I just can't grow a very
I'm
good
probably
beard.
like a few years away from just going, fuck it. Really
Yeah, but
thin on
you're
the
you're a trendy artist, so you're gonna have to get a hair transplant. You're gonna have to go to Turkey, aren't you?
top.
Let's be honest. You can't be
Aye.
a bold pop
That
artist.
could, that could be the thing. That could be the
It
next
could-
trend.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I'm
just imagining
Well, if
Connor.
I was your manager, I'd be suggesting you spend that $100,000 on some new hair.
I'm just imagining Connor coming back,
So my missus should be
going
kicking
on
off.
a 2-week holiday to Turkey, coming back with a full head of hair and like white teeth, just like, hi guys.
The turkey
In for the
teeth-
next season of
Yeah,
Geordie
turkey
Shore.
Turkey teeth are in, aren't they?
Aye,
Turkey
that's-
teeth are
Yeah.
in. I would be worried. I'd be worried about coming back with no teeth.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's happened. Apparently,
Yeah.
they've just like botched.
Yeah.
There's a girl,
Wow.
bless her. She's got like fangs on her now because they've
no.
chiseled her teeth too much.
Yeah, bless her,
It's
but you
like-
wouldn't want to kiss, would you?
No.
Little vampire lady.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, mint. We'll call that part 2.
Yeah.
Before we go to our break, if you guys want to comment below wherever you're watching, what your favourite trend would be, what you'd want to bring back, and
Folk punk. Folk rock.
folk punk.
I was going to say folk, but man,
Is that your new genre?
No, folk rock. Folk rock. Folk rock.
Like Blink-182 with the banjo.
Yeah.
That is you, to be fair.
Yeah, pretty much.
And yeah, we'll get to part 3.
Yeah, let's do it. Oh, hang on. See, here's the thing: when I've got a soundboard on my phone, I use my phone for other things. It's just gonna. Oh, it's gonna have an advert because I can't. Right, there we go. No, I'm good. Okay. Right. See you in part 3.
Hey. I'll never be able to mouth sync that, you know.
Something like that. Anyway,
Love it.
obviously Dan is the champion at kind of like cool little sound effects and stuff.
If you want to have a go at making your own sound effect.
No, I leave the creative to someone else. You know, I'm not very creative, but I bring people together.
That'll do.
Yeah.
So obviously, with yourself being in music management, were you ever in like bands or did you ever gig?
Yeah, I was. So I was a very rubbish drummer. In a high school band, we played one song and one song only, and we played it really, really well. It was Black Sabbath. Paranoid. What a song!
Absolute tune.
I walked on a Crazy Train yesterday at my gig.
Nice. No, actually, I tell a bit of a lie. I was in two bands, but they didn't really go anywhere. But that was mainly because I think you guys will know this, but it's about having the time to practice, you know, and really like focusing on that. I can't focus for anything for too long. I'm a bit all over the place, you know. You
know what? I'm the same. Music is the only thing I've actually been able to properly like concentrate my time.
It's good. I think some people are just built. Some people are just built to do it. You know, some people once they pick up their instrument, that is it. That, you know, they're so focused on that, which is who a musician should be. You know. Yeah. But I played in a couple of bands. I enjoyed those moments, and I think most people who work in the management industry or, you know, somewhere above have at some point tried their hand at it and realized I can't do that very well, but I'll give something else a go. You know, I still want to be involved.
So I presume on the other bands that you were in, you were drummer as well.
Yes, yeah.
If you could be a front man to a band,
all
right, and regardless to whichever genre it was, you were good at it. You know, what genre would you go for? Would you be a rock man? Would you be a rapper? What would you go for?
No, probably an acoustic artist. To be fair, I just I think there's nothing
Conor
better.
Michael fan.
Yeah. I think there's nothing better than an artist who can sit down, just a guitar and a voice. They don't need a mic. They can be in a room this size and just move people. Either move people to tears or you know what.
You say that James has never cried at a gig.
No,
have you not?
Well,
you haven't lived.
I didn't think this was I didn't really think this was a big thing.
We had this a couple of episodes ago, and it was name the first song that you cried at live. And I said mine was If You Could See Me Now by The Script. It was really emotional. And all the other lads on the pod, well, I never cried, James. Oh, I haven't cried. You've got to let an emotion out at a gig. It's part of the experience.
So I went to see James Arthur. I went to see him live at the arena, and he did a cover of Careless Whisper by George Michael. Yeah. Just him and the piano. You know, thousands of people there. And you could have heard a pin drop, and it's just so, like, you know, when you get the goosebumps, and it was just absolutely beautiful. And that song means something to me as well, because it was my dad's song. You know, my dad passed away, but just sung beautifully. You know,
I've had the goosebumps.
Yeah,
you know, James.
I'm not such a.
He nearly cried
but
yesterday.
I think
played him a song called "Flowers on the Bridge," and you could see him just like
it's a sad song. It's like
very sad song.
Yeah,
I hope you can't.
I'm not a massive James Blunt fan, but his song "Monsters."
Yeah.
I don't know if have you heard it?
I don't think I have.
Okay, go on the way home.
Yeah.
Put it on Spotify. Monsters by James Blunt. It's James Blunt. Yeah. It's just a beautiful song about his dad who's unwell, and and he says basically, I'll take the monsters away. But that song, when I heard that, I'm not a James Blunt fan, but when I heard that song, I just wow, unreal. And I'd go and see him just to hear that one song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's like the magic music in it. Like there's an emotion behind it.
Yeah.
Like you go see a film to get angry or to get happy, and like you go to music to feel whatever it is.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I would love to be in a band where you've got your mates there. Like, could you imagine being in Sam Fenner's band right now? You know, they must be having the time of their life. Yeah. You know, but there's a lot of pressure on them as well. You know, and people forget that there is a hell of a lot of pressure on an artist like that. Yeah. You know, his record label will be saying to him now, this next one needs to be number one again because we're ploughing money into you.
Yeah, because if you don't make this number one, then you're gone.
Yeah, and that's the reality of the scene. You know, it's fun when it's on stage, but as soon as they're off stage, someone's going to be asking for something.
Yeah,
you know.
You talk about nothing better than just an acoustic artist. Just honestly, one of the best gigs I've ever been to is Colin Hay. He played at Wyland Brewery not too long back, and he's basically, I mean, he's just him and his guitar singing the songs, but half of the gig was just him telling stories, and he's a funny man. He's a funny guy, and he's got obviously he's getting on a bit now. Sorry, Colin, but like but he's got some good stories to tell, and honest to God, it's such a good experience.
It is.
It's like
it is when one person can keep a bunch of people, however large that is, in the palm of their hand. by their voice.
Special, yeah.
You know, it's just unreal.
Yeah.
It's unreal. I mean, it's great, obviously, it's in a band, but I firmly believe music is meant to move you, either move you physically to dance to, or to move you emotionally. You know, and that's why middle of the road bands don't tend to do as well. You know, the slow ones like Lewis Capaldi. I mean, I know he's bringing out more poppy things now, but when he first came out, it was all ballads because people were like, wow, this is unreal. You know, this connects to my heart.
Yeah.
You know,
It's like, you know who reminds of Adele. Similar, like, because she's got a very like bubbly, outspoken personality, similar to Lewis Capaldi. I mean, Lewis Capaldi is a little bit more like funnier with it.
Yeah.
But like their personality just do not match their music at all.
It's
like
right.
a complete like
100%.
You can have
You
like
expect Adele to be on Clubland.
you'd be like Adele's like giving it all kind of like, oh, you know, you're white mate and stuff like that, and then she's like, I want to make you cry now, and it's like
Don't let it copyright that.
that's the next album.
imagine that being copyrighted on YouTube.
I want to make you cry now. Yeah. Love it.
So obviously Bear Park's the only one you've got managed at the minute.
Yeah.
So if we would take them out the picture, if you could select any local band to take under your wing,
Don't
hold on,
don't give them bloody.
not necessarily it'd be like, oh, they'll do, but like the next one that you think they could be the next something, they could be up there. Who would you advise the audience to go check out?
It's a tough one. Really, really tough. There's so many, but Elizabeth Little.
I thought you were about to say Elizabethtown. James's band, Elizabethtown.
Sorry.
Talk about kissing ass.
Sorry, it's not. But there's
I've seen her name pop out.
Elizabeth Little, and she's in a band called Moonwax as well. Nice. But Elizabeth Little as a solo artist with her band behind her.
Yeah.
Her voice is just absolutely unreal.
What kind of genre? Is she just like the acoustic thing, or?
No. So she plays piano, soul, like it's weird. There's songs sort of that meet every genre in there.
Yeah.
But it's just she's got a wicked way of writing songs that just like captures you, and she's a lovely person. She's beautiful. She's lovely. She writes good songs, and she's got an amazing voice. And I really think that her and her band, who are incredible, the whole band are absolutely incredible. They could really go somewhere.
Yeah.
It's just I think for her it's just about waiting for the right person who could do something that would benefit her. You know? Yeah. Because that's the thing, is like, as much as I really admire her as an artist, I don't know what I could bring to the table for that.
Yeah.
And that you've got to admit that sometimes. You've got to say, actually, do you know what? I'm not sure how much I can do. It's like when we had a chat, you know, there's certain things that I feel I can take forward. Yeah. And there's got to be some things that I hold up and say, actually, as much as I love you and I think you're great, I don't know what I could do to better that.
You've got to be confident with how you can see a band. You've got to have the vision as much as the band itself. Like.
And also, there's little things like, you know, for example, one thing that I would probably say to Elizabeth is I would get her away from being sat behind a piano. But her thing is sitting behind a piano and playing her song. You know, I'd like to see her out as a lead woman, you know, working the stage and doing all that, you know. Mind you, saying that, I haven't seen her recently. I don't know if she's doing that recently, but that would be one of my things. And I don't want to change what people do. Yeah. You know, I want to help better it, but I don't want to start telling people your song should be like this, should be like that. Yeah. You know, like you already had Home, the song, and you played the demo. It's great. It just needs better production. You know, it just needs a bit better production, or the right person to say, think about adding this. Yeah. You know, that's not my job to say that, you know.
Andy's. He did a good job, to be fair.
Yeah, Andy, yeah.
Who would you say is the best originals local band that you've seen live?
Oh, he's not going to say you, Connor.
I'm not asking for me. I said band. Did I say band?
I'm joking. No,
that's tough. Do you know what? It depends what you're going for. It depends what you're going for. Because I've seen bands that turn up and they absolutely like destroy the place. They're like, you know, people are jumping and going mad, and then you see other bands that it's just you and a couple of people, the Clooney 2 or something like that, and you're just really chilled. Yeah. You know, but this sounds awful because I've just said Elizabeth Little, but her band that she's involved with, she's not the lead singer, but she sings on it as well. Moonwax, they're unreal. Yeah. They're like very like Jamiroquai, like. You know, that funky, cool, that funky vibe, and they're great musicians. It's fun to watch. because they're having a great. You can tell they absolutely love it.
Yeah.
And there's some class bits, like, you know, they let the drummer have his moment. You know, they let the keyboard player, I think, have his moment. It might be a her. I might be wrong there. But,
have their moment.
But yeah, they each get their moment to shine on stage, and they just do it so professionally. Like, absolutely so professional. Yeah.
Brilliant.
And I think, I saw them at Gathering Sounds in Stockton, and there was maybe a couple of hundred people in the room, and everyone was just in awe. You could just tell everyone was like, "Don't talk to me. I'm watching this." You know. So,
Yeah.
We'll have to do like an off the stage ones to watch. It's like, you know, BBC introducing, but shit.
But better. They're giving up, aren't they?
Yeah. Oh, they are.
We'll be the new introducing.
Yeah, off the stage one to watch. Moonwax, Elizabeth
Off
Little.
the stage one to watch. That's
off
a
the
good
stage
name.
one to watch. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously,
Ones to watch.
I mean, I do want to put out that you obviously said don't mention Bear Park, but go and watch Bear Park.
Park off the stage.
I did,
One of the ones
yes.
to watch, obviously.
Yeah.
But you know, I think so many people bring so many different things to the table, and there's honestly in the Northeast there is a scene like no other. Like, I know people speak about Manchester and they speak about Glasgow and stuff like that for bands, but I grew up in London, and there's nothing like what's going on here.
I think ours
We
is
said
probably the least hyped, but it's not the least best.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if everybody in London came up to Newcastle specifically, like the Northeast,
Yeah.
specifically for local music, they go, holy shit.
Yeah.
That might be the reason Sam Fender's pushed out, and like they've got these kind of...
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the thing is as well, it's about Manchester, for example, is a 2-hour train ride from London.
Yeah.
So people will take a punt on it. You know, there's generally, they can go and watch a bit of a gig, get back on the train.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, you come into Newcastle, you know, it's only an extra hour, but it's an extra hour on the train. Or if you're driving, it's, you know, it's quite a lengthy drive from London. And I think sometimes there's that bit of, well, we could probably find that on our doorstep.
Yeah.
We don't need to go to the north. You know, we don't need that unless it smacks you in the face and it's like, wow, this is unreal. You know, but again, send those emails out.
Yeah,
you know,
honestly. You've heard it here. Like, someone's lived in London saying the Northeast is like flipping class for music. Send them emails out.
It
honestly.
is like, so if, for example, let's just use North Shields as an example, right? There's
Home ground.
there's a great little venue there. There's pubs doing their thing. You know, there's loads of stuff going on. Even just in North Shields, where I grew up in London, is a place called Harrow. There's one music venue.
Yeah.
And everyone's played that venue 10 times over, and that is it. You know, and that's
it's
just,
a big
you know,
place, isn't it?
yeah,
London,
you know,
you forget London is like, it's probably bigger than the Northeast.
and the reality is as well, if a band want to, you know, if they want to hire a venue in central London, the guys who run that venue want 4 times as much as what they want up here. You know? So it's difficult to get it.
£100,000 goes, isn't it?
Yeah,
to do one London gig.
So I mean, even up here at times, you know, there has been times where one company had a monopoly on quite a few venues, and the price was pushed up a bit. But there's so many cracking venues that you don't have to use them anymore.
Yeah.
You know, there's Little Buildings is a great example. I mean, Alan down at Little Buildings,
they were
shout out to him. But you know, it's a 60 cap room. I would rather Bear Park filled that room up 3 nights in a row than played one night at Think Tank, for example.
I'd love to do like a sellout multiple nights in a row though.
Yeah,
that sounds like more of an
it's not really
achievement.
done anymore though.
No,
like,
it's not.
I remember, so like growing up in London, Slipknot, they played Hammersmith Apollo, which is about 5,000 people, and they played it for 7 nights in a row. Whereas now, a band will just come over there, do the O2 one night, that's it, they're gone.
Yeah.
You know, and technically, 7 nights in a row is more than the O2 one night.
Yeah.
But it takes more effort. But bands used to like playing in a smaller place, so they were closer to the fans.
Yeah,
But now it's just about get in there, get out.
Yeah. I've never liked stadium gigs and stuff like that because you just feel so disconnected.
Yeah.
With the band.
But then on the flip side, I mean, I know you're a massive Ed Sheeran fan. I can tell by the tattoo. But on the flip side, Ed Sheeran physically now, there would be no point in him playing a small gig.
No.
Because it's just not worth the team that he has around him. You just couldn't afford to put it on. Because people used to do secret gigs as well. Like, I used to love a secret gig. You know, Kings of Leon did one, I want to say about 10 years ago now in London. And they literally just tweeted out, the first 200 people at this venue can get in for absolutely nothing to hear our new album. And you should have seen the queue. The queue was mad. Yeah. Right? Bands don't do that because there's so many people involved in I want my share of that pot. But people don't do it anymore.
Plus, they don't make money from the albums or music anymore. Music's worthless now.
It's
like,
the gigs, in it. That's why they charge extra tickets.
Yeah. Which is another thing about record deals is a 360 deal is something where it includes your live shows as well, where the record label will get a bit of that pop.
Because they know they're not going to make as much money from the music, so they know that's where.
I mean, don't get it fooled. There is a lot of money in music still. There's a lot of money in when Ed Sheeran released an album, for example, he will do a limited number of signed copies.
Yeah.
And so there is monetary value there, which is probably what they've spent on the album. They'll try and recoup that just in the physicals alone, and then he's streaming on top of that. Great, it's fantastic. They know he's going to do millions of streams easy, but if he can knock out, let's say, £1 million worth of physical product, it's great. That's that covered.
Yeah.
And that's why now a lot of artists are doing it. They do their signed run. Sam Fender did a massive one where if you bought a limited edition vinyl and stuff like that. And I actually love it because I'm not a bit of a collector of music stuff. Yeah. So I'm a sucker for it. I must have about 4 different vinyls from Sam Fender now. They're just different colours. They've got the same thing on, But I'm a sucker for it, and I really love merchandise. Yeah. I can't help it. I hardly ever wear anything I've bought at a gig, but I'll buy a T-shirt to say I was there.
Yeah. I mean, I do that now. Because if I like someone, what I used to do is I used to buy the album. But now if I like someone, I'll go to the gig and I'll specifically spend money on a T-shirt. Rather than...
I'd rather a T-shirt or a hoodie kind of thing. I'd rather give the
band that I like a bit of money.
Yeah. But I mean, that's a massive thing as well, though. Venues taking percentages of merchandise. Record deals do that as well.
There was a story, I can't remember what band it was. It was like I'd like to say Trivium. I'm probably going to get that completely wrong, but it was a band kind of like a heavy metal band. Yeah. Who... There was people selling pirated merch outside, and rather than just tell them off and stuff, they just parked their bit outside and sold the merch outside the venue, so that the venue wouldn't take the money, and they was like they sold at the same price. Like, listen, we're gonna play your game,
Yeah, people wonder why a T-shirt at a gig is £45, which is a hell of a lot of money. Yeah, but because everyone takes their cut.
Because the musician takes £2 out of that.
Yeah. Because everyone takes their cut first, and then you're left with couple of quid for a T-shirt, off profit. That should be. So you've got to sell lots of numbers, But for most of the artists watching this, even if you're a small artist who has a really small fan base, get some T-shirts printed, and just literally even just put a couple of quid on top. And a lot of people do this thing where they buy a T-shirt and they're like, that is worth 15 quid. Yes, that T-shirt is worth 15 quid, but sell it for 9 quid. You make maybe 4 quid profit if you've managed to get it for a good deal. Yeah. And get people wearing it. Get people out there in it.
Get the brand name. Yeah.
And that's a massive thing for me is merchandise. You want people out there wearing your gear. Yeah. But like you were saying before, it's about sometimes making a brand. Yeah. And it's not always just putting your name across the front. I did it too many times when I first started. I would say to a band, get your logo on the main bit of the chest. The Baltics or whatever. The Red Room, which is great, but a lot of young people now want to wear something that looks cool. Yeah. So Bear Park. We're not trying to relate to bears too much, even though they're called Bear Park. But they
in cinemas now.
They want to do stuff like road signs and stuff like that.
Cocaine Bear Park.
They want to do stuff like road signs, which has nothing to do with the band, but they want it to look cool and people to say, actually, do you know what? That's a really cool T-shirt. I'm going to wear that.
Honestly, just like a signpost, like the brown tourism thing, Bear Park.
All right, that is literally what we're doing.
Yeah,
so,
you know what?
If you're watching this, you've given away an exclusive. Right. We're literally doing. I mean, Bear Park.
James is the
genius.
Yeah. So I'm hoping we have these in production before this goes out.
21st of March. No pressure.
Is that when this is going out? Okay, cool. We'll get it done before then. But yeah, we've got a designer who's drawn that up, and it is like the brown tourist attraction, this way sort of thing.
I'd wear that. That's cool as shit.
Yeah, and that's you want to make something that your mates want to wear, not just because it's you, but that's a cool bit of merch, So yeah,
mint. So just quickly on Bear Park, if our viewers wanted to check them out, do you know what their socials are top of your head?
At Bear Park Music.
On everything?
On everything.
Oh, that's cool. Love it.
I love that.
Easy.
Honestly, that just deserves a round of applause.
There's so many people on Instagram where it's like at Bear Park Music, but on Facebook we're at bearpark.band, and on Twitter we're at the Bear Park. Fuck off.
Do you know what it is? Other than when I made this mistake when we changed the band name over, because there were the Baltics before, when we changed the band name over, I got left in charge of changing the Facebook because the lads don't really use Facebook a lot. They're all Instagram.
That's people in the 30s. Facebook is the 30s thing, and it's like.
So I was in charge of changing the username for that, and I spelt music wrong. So I know how music is spelt, but I obviously had a moment where I was doing it, where I was just like really annoyed with trying to check because now changing like a name on
that's
the
ridiculous.
46
they've got to use the thingies, or you can't change this to this name. We have to like review your. Just let us. It's my page.
So I changed it. Press enter, and I was like, lads, all done. And then they were like, Lee, what is this? But you've now got, you can't change it within a certain amount of days. So I think for 90 days we'll go around with the misspelt Bear Park music. But now it is all Bear Park music.
Good. So this, as I say, will come out on the 21st of March.
Yeah.
Is there any shows top of your head that Bear Park have soon that people would want to be like, oh shit, I'll come see them?
Well, I suppose the main one for people watching this would be they're playing Xerox on the 1st of April.
Cool.
It's £8 for a ticket. You can find them on Eventbrite, or I think Xerox have some on Ticketweb. I might be telling a lie there. But if you go onto bearparkmusic.com as well, you can buy tickets on there as well. So.
Cool.
Awesome. It's probably inappropriate for us to advertise our gig.
Is yours gig the same night? What's going on?
And if you're not going there,
what you want.
I'm headlining the Bunker in Sunderland with James's support.
If you want an indie band playing like surfy guitar vibes, head to Xerox. If you want what this man does,
an Ed Sheeran wannabe geezer,
and whatever the fuck I do, I don't even know what I do.
Do you know what? Don't people will do that because you're a guy with an acoustic guitar. They'll say, "Oh, the Ed Sheeran thing." No, you're Conor Michael.
Exactly.
Yes,
that's exactly.
But I have a Sheeran guitar and a loop pedal.
Yeah. Do you know what? So what? He's an artist who's done really, really well. And you know what? So what?
Yeah.
Start owning it as your own. This is the thing. Like, you go around telling people you're an Ed Sheeran wannabe, then people start believing that.
Yeah.
People say he's never going to be Conor Michael. He's always going to be the one who wants to be like Ed Sheeran. And that's what you've got to sell yourself. You're your biggest marketing person.
You wouldn't go to indie band. Oh yeah, I'm like Oasis. It's like no, you're Bear Park. I don't know what Bear Park sounds like, but
yeah, they're not Oasis, but
they're better.
Exactly, the Bear Park.
But you can say for fans of Ed Sheeran, you might like this sort of thing and stuff like that. But don't say a shit. Ed Sheeran. Stop doing that. Like a lot of people say, we're a bit like Fontaine's DC. If you like them, we're probably not as good as them. No, you're going to be fucking better than them.
Yeah.
And we had a massive thing with. I'm sorry, I'm going off on a tangent.
That's all right. That's what this is. We told you 20 minutes tangents off.
We had a massive thing and I hope Shay doesn't. Shay's the lead singer of Bear Park, and he sort of fell into that role of lead singer. They had some other people beforehand. It didn't go well. Shay has got a unique voice. And he sort of fell into it. One day they had a recording session booked, and they were like, "You're going to sing it." And he's like, "Am I what?" But he used to go around, and it was very like he wasn't very assertive with it. We're going to play this next song for you, and we hope you like it. And you can't do that when you're on stage. No. It's got to be you are gonna like you're gonna like this, and if you don't, fuck off.
You know what? It's such a hard thing, but because I think it's within the British mentality of being self-deprecating and like it's the Americans do it perfectly where they're like, yes, I'm the best thing since sliced bread. Not that they know what sliced bread is, but we're always very self-deprecating. We're a little bit shit, but you like us anyway. But no, you're fucking mint. Bear Park, Shay, you're class.
Yeah, and he is. Do you know what it is? And every time he gets told by somebody in the industry somewhere, it builds them up a bit more, But this is a big thing for me is, you've got, don't be arrogant about it, but you've got to be assertive about it. I am an artist in my own right. I do my own thing. I'm not just doing what Ed Sheeran does. I make my own music, and whilst it's similar to, and if you're a fan of that, you might like mine, I'm not a shit version of him, And there's so many artists that do that. So many artists.
Yeah.
So there's a tip for anybody. Tip for anyone like myself, As well as obviously advertising Bear Park, do you want to advertise yourself?
Yeah, I mean, well, you can check Instagram at LiveWorldNE, and it's that on Facebook as well. To be honest with you, I'm a bit rubbish with the socials. I need someone who
shouldn't say that as a manager.
No. No, but the thing is, the good thing with bands is there's normally a band member who's really keen on it, and all three of the lads in Bear Park are. But yeah, we've got a load of gigs coming up. I do other gigs as well. I do comedy and stuff like that, which keeps me really busy. But yeah, send me a message, and send me a demo because if it doesn't work for me, I might just give you a bit of feedback, or I might send it on to somebody who might dig that,
Or you might ignore it, but it doesn't matter.
No,
At least you tried.
I never ignore. I never ignore.
I don't mean
anyone.
that in you're being a dick. Sometimes, as I say, just try it, and you never know.
I purposely make a point of never ignoring anyone. I always
good.
try, even if I say, listen, I've given it a listen, it's not for me, or I'll be in touch, sort of thing. And generally, if I say I'll be in touch, means I'm not gonna pursue that. But and that doesn't mean it's shit necessarily. It's just not for me. It's And that's the thing, but send it out. I love listening. Do you know what? Even if I can't do anything for you, I just love listening to new music. I absolutely love music, and I love the Northeast scene as well.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for coming down.
That's all right. No worries.
Every time I go to talk,
Well, just
hey James.
followed by applause.
If anybody's really enjoyed this episode, if you're watching on Spotify, drop us a 5-star review. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. If you didn't enjoy it, drop us a 5-star review, give us a thumbs up, and just don't listen to us again. If you're on YouTube, subscribe. We are on, last time I checked, 110 subscribers.
We are, yeah.
If we get to 1,000 by the end of the year, we're going to go skinny dipping in the North Sea.
I'm not there for that. I'm not there for that. You guys go for it.
Yeah. We normally have a pub table session at the end of the show where our guests will play a song. A few weeks ago, we recorded a special with HMV Newcastle, where we were there for all day, and we had, I think it was 10 acts.
10 acts, yeah.
We had 10 acts on, start to finish.
Can you remember who you had?
We had...
Now I'm going to test you.
Amelia Dobson.
Yeah. Philip Jonathan.
Don't test me with names. You know what I'm like with names.
Nathan. It's a throwback to an episode we had a guy on called, his band is, his stage name is Failed to Ignite, and he's called Anthony. And James went, so Nathan, how are you doing?
Oh, I saw that earlier. Yeah, just totally got his name wrong.
I've never let it
Looked
down
for you for help and you didn't help.
Yeah. He was just like, it's Nathan.
Are you allowed to say who you really rate? Have you probably said it on the podcast, but who you really rate in the Northeast scene? Who should I listen to?
I sound really biased, but Twister are an unbelievable band live. Have you ever seen?
Yeah, I've heard of Twister. Yeah,
they're
I
really good
see them
live.
actually. They played of all places.
Currently on a European tour.
Yeah,
That's how good they are.
Of all places, they played Doe at Manor Hotel. There was a little festival outside there, and to be honest with you, I don't think many of the people there were expecting them either.
Yeah.
But they were great.
Yeah,
they were absolutely great. Yeah.
Like I said, I seen New Electrics last weekend. Really good. The Vanells are really good at like the crowd interaction.
Yeah. I know them quite well. We did a few shows with them, but you just have to pick one. Just one. You're not allowed to.
No, that's fine. I'm trying to think of the ones I've seen.
I'm just gonna say
Elizabethtown.
Nick Wood. Tired of fighting, but Nick Wood specifically. I swear to God, he's got probably the best voice in the Northeast.
A band I used to manage, we had a battle of bands against Tired of Fighting.
Oh, really?
And they absolutely smashed it. But they left before the end, so I don't know if they ever knew that they won. I take it someone told them, but they obviously had work. Then it was like in Blythe on a Thursday night or something like that. And they were absolutely class.
Honestly, I mean, I've been in the scene. I'm like a similar age as Nick, and I've been in the scene with him for a while. And just every time I hear him, I'm just blown away by his voice.
Yeah.
If I'm going to pick one person in the Northeast, and I think she's just released a second album. Last call, Charlotte Grayson from Hartlepool, one of the best songwriters in the Northeast. There isn't a song you listen to where you go, oh, you could have changed that. You go, fuck, that's like lyrically genius. I'll put that down as my answer.
There you go.
But yeah, going back to that,
sorry,
that's all right.
I just was wondering. I'm wondering if people who are listening at hear that side of it as well, because it's interesting for me.
Yeah, absolutely. But we did this off the stage fest with HMV, and basically that is going to be next week's episode 42, where you're going to see clips of them sing a song and then us discussing like what's upcoming, just like a little chat with them for like 10 minutes. At the end of this episode, we're going to give you a clip. Did we settle it was going to be Philip Jonathan?
Philip Jonathan, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one you're going to hear on this week's episode. And then next week, tune in and watch the entirety of HMV featuring Off the Stage. Thank you very much for coming down again, Lee.
Thanks for having me.
This has been a
great,
really good podcast.
I've
We'll
really
get a
enjoyed
drink
it.
at another time as well. Eh?
Absolutely, yeah. We hopefully will have Bear Park on some point soon.
100% we'll sort that
We'll
out.
get that sorted soon. And thank you very much for coming down.
No worries, thanks
See you
a lot.
next time.
Cheers.
Spot on. See you later. Oh, I've got to... Oh, hang on, yeah.
Go on.
Hang on.
Get off the
Stage.
mat!
You say stage over there. Get off stage.
He's trying to time it right. He's trying to time
But
it
he's
right.
not getting it right.
Hang on.
For a musician, get your timings.
Hang on.
Get off the mat!
Stage.
There you go.
See you later.
Get off
There we
stage.
go. Get up stage.
Honestly, that is ridiculous.
I was found by the river of the damned. Water's rising, 1 more minute till I drown. Hands that laid me, wrapped me tenderly in white. Fingers found me, reaching desperately for life. Where shall I go? Where shall I go? I was raised by a foreign family. The things unknown were my soliloquy. To look beyond and see the things unseen. When they heard how they despise me, where shall I go? Father, where shall I go? And I sung, oh, I sung into your soul, into things you didn't know were old. When disappointment took your eyes, you left me on a rugged tree to die. Where shall I go? Father, where shall I go? running back, I came to take you home. I came back, I came running back, I came to take you home. I came back, I came running back, I came to take you home. I came back, I came running back, I came to take you home. I came back, I came running back, I came to take you home. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Ollie Murs, and you've been listening to Off the Stage podcast. Make sure you tune in next time.